What's up, y'all? I'm chilling with Little Nikki at allhiphop.com.
What's up, everybody? This is Little Nikki Duncan-Smith, aka Kershaw St. Jawnson, and I am here with the amazing Sweet Tea in the groove. Al, what's up, Sweet Tea?
I'm good. I'm good.
Let me first tell you how, when I was coming up, every girl I knew, I'm from Philly, every girl I knew wanted to be Sweet Tea. Wanted to be Sweet Tea. You were so fly. Earrings right. You had the dope swirl gold earrings. Up here they call them like honey buns. We used to call them swirls. Fly, leather trench, back when leather trenches was the thing. Was that your style or was that Queens? Was that just a Queens thing?
It was just my style. Like, everybody didn't necessarily wear the same thing I wore at the time I wore it. It's just I'll go with how I felt like dressing, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I did.
No, you did it well. You did it well. What was it like? Because I want to say you came out, 85, 86?
Yeah, 86.
86? And wait. You actually came out a little earlier than that.
Yes, I did.
You were one of the Davey DMX girls, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Can you let our allhiphop.com fans know a little bit about how you got started with Davey DMX? And explain who he was to hip hop culture.
Oh my God. Davey DMX is he's a great DJ, a producer and a musician. Like, he plays a lot of instruments and he can sing. And so he was definitely running around with Run DMCs, doing a lot of things, Dave cut the record down to the bone. So, he was running with them, but he had his own record deal where he was, putting out his own music. And one day he was just looking for a Davey DMX girl. He already had one, and her name was Yanni James. I love her. Hi, Yanni. And she he paired us up, and that's what we did. We went out and did 1 for the treble, 2 for the bass.
Wait, y'all did not have a Queen's accent there. That was a very British accent. Where did that come from?
Well, actually Iani is British, and so it just sounded really pretty to do it that way, and so I can mimic very well, so I had to get in the groove of that. But she was actually British, and she was a beautiful singer, beautiful person. And so that's how that took place. And we did a couple of songs, and at that time when Davey went to move forward, he was like, rise, do what you're gonna do. And I moved into Sweet Tea.
I love it. So was your name originally Sweet Tea?
In the streets, but when I was with him, we weren't like identifying Sweet Tea. It was more, I was a Davey DMX girl, which was cool. You know what I mean? It was great. It was a great experience.
And so when you say in the streets, what part of Queens is this? Because Queens is interesting. People talk about Brooklyn and the Bronx, Staten Island and Manhattan. Queens is very interesting because if you're from a certain part of Queens, it says something about you. So what part of Queens are you from?
I'm from South Side.
You're from South Side.
Yeah.
That's all the cool people were in the 80s. Run-DMC.
Yeah, but Run-DMC from Hollis, which is also, like every part was a cool part. And we all made up a conglomerate, a collective of Queens, And so I just happen to be from the South Side.
South Side, like South Side Jamaica.
Yeah, South Side Jamaica. So that's like the Daisy Projects, 40 Projects, like that side. Rochdale, yes. All of that was on out of town.
I'm with it. I know you can walk up the street to Hollis. You can go down and then maybe St. Albans is over there.
St. Albans in the middle. They in the middle, playing middle.
Playing middle. What school? What high school did you go to?
Bayside.
You went to Bayside. Who else went to Bayside?
Who
else went to? Were there other artists that went to Bayside also?
I know that Sherry that played Sherry Headley. I know she went to Bayside.
From all my children.
Huh?
From all my children. She was on all
No,
my
yeah,
children.
yeah. And also to play Mercy's music. Yeah, Coming to America.
Yeah, Coming to America. Yeah, the cute one. She was super, you know.
Yeah.
I like her.
Yeah.
But not like they liked you. So let's talk about how Sweet Tea, who was known, because I'm sure you were popping, rolling with Davey D, because he was Def Jam, and that's Run and Russell and all of them. When the next progression, I guess, goes to what? Herbie Love Bug. How did that happen?
Yeah. I was in Latin quarters one night, and because I had tried this little group thing for a minute, and I really didn't like what was happening with it, because it felt like it was dampering, my creativity personally, and I chose to step away from that. And so I went to Latin quarters, just to calm down, hang out, hear some hip hop. And Herbie walked up to me and was like, "I've been looking for you." And so I was like, "Really?" So we had a conversation, and I went home. I wrote It's My Beat that night. I put it on his answering machine, and I called, and he called me the next morning and was like, "I'm coming to pick you up so we can go to the studio and work."
First of all, let's talk about this hustle. Let's talk about this hustle, okay? Because how you gonna write the rhyme and then spit it on his answer machine? For people who don't know, there used to be a machine like a little cassette, like your voicemail, but it was on a cassette. So you basically spit your rhyme. The one that we heard, or was it just like a rough version of it?
Well, I mean, but like I had the idea for the bass line, the hook, and the verses. Like the first verse, I don't remember whether I did the second verse or not, but I basically spit the song on his answering machine, because when he said, I'm saying, "I was looking for you, I'm ready to work," I was ready to work. I was also fueled probably by the fact that I had just walked away from that other group, and I was like, "You're not going to stop me from doing what it is I truly want to do." So I was probably fueled. So I was probably fueled with that as well when I went home that night. And so I was up all night.
And Herbie had a reputation for getting it popping, right? He had Antoinette at the time, Salt and Pepper, or the Showstoppers, but what you did is a little different than what they did, because you basically wrote your rhymes and you produced it by laying it out, having a vision. That's a producer's job. Did you see yourself as a producer, or did you just see yourself, "I'm just doing what I love. I'm just making a song"?
I'm just doing what I love. I'm just doing what I love, And so I think collectively, Herbie and I really, put together what my look was for that album. And I enjoyed working with him. It was a great experience. And did what we had to do. Like, you're right about that with the production piece, but at that time, you didn't know.
I actually just heard this story with the Sequence, Angie B and all of them back in the day, response to Sugar Hill, and they actually did a lot of that, arranging stuff and writing, and didn't get the credit for it, because sisters back in the day. What was that like as a female MC? Did you believe that you got the credit? But did you have to constantly fight somebody's writing a rhyme, somebody coming up with her image? Did you have to constantly fight the same fight that Lauryn Hill had to fight, the same fight that I'm sure Nicki Minaj is still going through right now? Were you one of the first ones to actually deal with that on a larger scale?
I didn't really feel that struggle for some reason. I didn't. I was, with Herbie had one of the biggest female groups out. And I just worked. I didn't have to fight about whether I wrote rhymes or not. They were, at the time, it seemed like, I don't know, it was very important, word on the street, who wrote and who didn't write. And so I was on the I write list. So, I was okay with that. I didn't have to battle about it, especially, from where I come from. Like, we were in the streets rhyming. You went outside, and if you heard that music coming from a direction and it was some party outside somewhere, you had to get dressed and get there. and do what you got to do and get on the mic. And so that's what I used to do. And so, you know, I definitely didn't have to deal with it where I lived. And at the time, there wasn't internet for people to, you know, chime in and argue about it, go back and forth about it. So where I lived and where I spent my time at, you know, people pretty much knew who I was.
Yeah, people didn't know who you were. And that's amazing just to kind of, can you just pause and think about how popular you were with such limited outlets? Like hip hop wasn't on the radio all the time, but while in New York, It's My Beat was I was about to say the word, was the bomb. In Philly, it's like that, y'all, that, y'all, that, y'all, that, y'all. Yeah. That was my jam.
And you guys, and I got the feeling, Philly, and I got the feeling.
Just making breaking to a cold sweat, and Lord have mercy, I wanted to be you so bad. I was like, look at her hair. She got a rap. You was the first ones to really rock a rap the proper way. We had look good.
And then, you know, it was funny because before I started wearing the doobie and I was wearing the braids, I used to get into it sometimes with girls, and you know, that would, I don't know, I guess try to be mean because I would have braids in it. They would think I was bald headed. You know what I mean? There's a couple times I had to like go like this, be like I don't know what you're talking about. Like this is a style I'm wearing. You know what I'm saying? When I was wearing the box braids with the clip, you know, which was another thing, you know. But yeah,
that just seemed like y'all was just like indestructible as like female MCs, like Sweet Tea and Salt and Pepper. Like I was looking at Right On magazine and seeing all of the posters, and y'all just seem like the coolest crew. What did that translate well? Was that like really truthfully translated? Were you guys kicking it like that back in the day?
Listen, everybody was busy working, and I do believe that sometimes, like when it's not too much, there's not going to be conflict. You know what I mean? So they were always on the move. I was on the move when we saw each other. It was love, blah, blah, blah. I'm so sad we never did a record together. I'm going to keep saying that on interviews. But Kid and Play, loved it. Those are my brothers. Kwame, that's my brother. Like, you know, and so that kind of thing kind of wasn't promoted within the camp that we were in. You know what I'm saying? I know there's other things you've heard, but, you know, like amongst us, it wasn't, you know, me with the groups. I don't know what was happening within the groups, but as you know, groups as a whole, we did pretty good.
I'm a true fan, so I only listen to the things that's going to get me excited. And to me, harmony excites me. So to me, I just love seeing this sisterly unity, and that would have been fire with you, you know, doing a record with Salt and Pepper. But you know what? You didn't really need to be doing a record with somebody else. You know, you didn't team up with anybody else because aren't you a twin? You're not a twin? Oh my goodness. See, I'm a twin. So in my mind, we were bonding on the level.
No, I'm not a twin. That would have been crazy if I was a twin. But
I'm sure, because I heard
was running around. Okay.
And so you did, after a while, I mean, after the initial record with Herbie, and touring and charting, you also charted. Let's say that you charted with your singles. You went and you changed your image a little bit with the Poison Posse. With
actually what really happened at that time is I don't know, I like backed up a little bit, and I had a choice with the person that was financing what was going on. They were like, you know, you working on you or you working on the group? And I was like, let me work on the group. Let me work and maybe do some production work and work on the group. And so, you know, I jumped in on some of their songs, but that was really them. I mean, I thought the Poison Posse was a dynamic group, and I think that they really, really, really would have they would have blown, you know. So I penned that album and did a lot of creative work to try to set them up to move forward.
So a producer, a ghostwriter, you also put the group together. You're just a mogul in your own right.
Yeah, I mean, I tried with that. I did. And it's like I just thought they were dynamic. But if you can't make people do what needs to be done, you know what I'm saying? You can't make them, how they say you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And
But I said the character of a person is not always determined by the byproduct, it's by the effort, right? And so I salute you for being I don't think people understand. And even though it came easily for you, the 80s and the 90s was not just an easy terrain for a Black woman, a brown skinned female rapper to come up and dominate like you did. And then you
yeah.
came around and you hit us with the "What's up, star? I like to get to know who you are. Let's have drinks at the bar." Was that your Def Jam connection? Like, how did that come about? You getting on that?
Well, I was in the studio working, and everybody started AKAing their name, So I said, well, I'm an AKA, I'm gonna put Sugar, I'm gonna say Sugar a couple of times on my records and try to give myself a AKA. And Jam Master Jay got the demo and he was like, okay, he said, I like your name, Sugar. I like it. So I was like, okay. So he said, I want to set up a meeting with Russell and I'm going to tell him that I want you to meet Sugar. So played the music for him. He said, I want to meet us. So I went down to the Time Cafe, met Russell. And when I walked in and he saw it was me, he was like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? So he, so it was Sweet Tea. So he came and he just, looked at me and then he just looked at Jay and said, sign her.
Did you know Russell before then?
Mm-hmm.
From around the way?
Mm-hmm.
What was he just like, what? I know Russell with the funny face. He was just like,
but then he just knew me as Sweet Tea as well. And the thing was, Jay didn't want people to prejudge the music because I was a artist from the 80s. So he didn't want the music prejudged. So he started, just saying, this is a girl named Sugar to everybody that was listening to it. And so that's how he did that. And
and that actually seemed like two different Queens camps anyway, like that Rush Management thing and Herbie's camp over there. Kwame's a good friend of mine, and Kwame used to be like, we used to look at them, call them the Russians because they were under Rush. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because I had been done with Herbie's camp a little while before I signed that deal. So, and I was actually with Henchman.
Oh. That's Queens all day. So, and so now, huh? Well, I mean, I don't know where Jimmy's from, but in my mind, I connect him with. So when you did What's Up, Star, where'd you go? I know that what happened after that? Because I was looking for an album and I didn't have it.
Okay. So I started working on the album. I have a lot of songs, but creatively, the direction that, Jay and I were going back and forth with the direction of the album.
Right.
And so before anything could even really get completed, that's when JMJ and Def Jam separated. Mm-hmm. And so they separated, and then that's when, I was just like, I'm like stuck in the middle somewhere. So I was just like, release me, so I wouldn't be stuck in the middle. And they released me, and that was that for a while. I was like, wow, I need a break.
And it's a good time to take a break. And it was about 95, 96, 97. Yeah. So, and what was in that break? What gave you pleasure? What gave you solace? Because you basically were a child star. You got put on when you was a teenager. And so in defining yourself as an adult, like how did you find your identity? How did you find who Toy is versus Sweet Tea?
That was something that I did a lot of thinking with. And I was lost for a little while. I really was. I was, sometimes people might say to me, I'm in the street and they go, anybody ever tell you look like Sweetie? And sometimes I would say, yeah, they do, and walk off, because I was just like in that like space, like, oh my God, like what's going on? What is really going on? I have to take control at this point. So I started working in a drug treatment program, and it really gave me something. It gave me something that I needed. I started developing as a person. I went back to school. I'm now an assistant director in a drug treatment program. And I really love this job. So even with me going in the studio and doing the thing that I really love the most, which is being an MC, it's like I love that job too. You know what I'm saying? So I I had to work through it. And it's something that sometimes people can't do, is get past and say, you can still be an MC. They'll never take that away, but what about Toy? Let's develop, let's figure out, what's really going on.
So
And
so
it
you've
was a lot.
you've given so much. When I think about Michael
Mhm.
Jackson, when I think about
Mhm.
Lauryn Hill, when I think
Mhm.
about um just so many artists who start when they're teens or young people,
Mhm.
their
Mhm.
life is giving life to other people. My twin sister is fair complected, and they had the salt and pepper thing, but I didn't. I'm not. I didn't associate. I didn't connect with pepper.
Mhm.
But to see somebody like you, um, be seen as beautiful, be seen as talented, be seen as smart, it affirmed me in a way that I don't even have the words to articulate. So I thank you for pouring into my life in such a way
Mhm.
that I'm able to make a living in hip hop. So I thank you for that. But now, even in your career now, Samaritan Village,
Yes.
you're still
Yes.
giving life to people. You're still pouring into other people. What a wonderful woman you are, that you can find joy in creating spaces for people to have a release, to be affirmed, to feel good about themselves.
Yes.
Do you, is that just who you are as a person? Your music and your real life mirrors each other that way?
I think that that's what I found out. I think that's what I found out. And you know, I went through, a lot before I got to this point. You know, I was in the streets a lot. I was in the bars a lot. Found out, that can't be the end of that, and I love Queens because they just like we just all have a good time and ride and do what we do. And I was really lost for a minute with that, and I'm happy that I was able to like bring it all back around. And and I want to encourage other people that you can do that. You can do that. Like you can have more than one dream. You can have more than one goal, and you can fulfill them all. You know.
Yeah, because of you, there would be no Foxy Brown, there'd be no Little Kim. I mean, you and Salt and Pepper, y'all were, all the other female rappers was like, yo, what's up? Like they were like tomboys, or you had Latifah that was, I don't want to say asexual, but not the ones that people was like, yo, like Moni wore baggy clothes all the time. You guys made it cool. Like there'd be no city girls there, and for whatever they are, Cardi B, for whatever you think she is, Meg Thee Stallion, whatever you think she is, they were able to express themselves in the feminine because of the work that you've done. Who are some of the sisters that you listen to now?
Listen, I get a lot of homework from Pudgy because, like, I love Doja Cat. I love I look at Cardi. I look at every last one of them, and every last female MC, from the ones who aren't really out to the ones who are, really out there. And, I get homework almost every day to, like, look at and hear the new songs out and hear what's going on. And, so when I'm at work sometimes, like, and I can't scan the internet, he'll send me, and I call it homework. You know what I mean? Because he's like, you check your homework today? And I'll be like, all right, I'll be, give me a second. And I'll go and I'll look, because you have to see, you can't be closed. I'm so sad at some of my peers that, they're closed to listening to new music. No, I can't understand it. And I say, you know what? Because you're not listening. And you don't want to listen. And I remember when we were coming out, we were literally desecrating, as our parents were saying, their records by taking these singing songs, looping them, and rhyming on them. So we were tearing their songs up. How could you put that hip hop, what my grandmother called it, bibbidi bop, on the records? Why are y'all doing that? And so now, and that wasn't a good feeling. We didn't like that. I didn't like it. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, listen to it. It's cool. Like, it's good. Like, listen to what we're talking about. But now that we're in this position and here comes the new younger artists, then some of my peers are shunning them. And it was like, you didn't like it when it was done to you. So why are you doing that? Like, it's a lot of good music. So I can't even entertain conversations when people say things like, yo, I can't even understand what they're saying, or I can't even entertain those kind of conversations because they're speaking English. There are some who have accents and things like that. You might not understand everything they're saying, but come on, that's not the whole music that's not the whole music in general. And I want to, like, give props, like, we did this, and it's like, what did you think? It was going to evolve, like, and it wasn't going to stay the same. Nothing stays the same. Fashion doesn't stay the same. It might repeat itself, but it doesn't stay the same. And so, props.
See, that's what it is. So back in the day, you were the fly girl, but the fly girl from the streets. Like, I don't want to say drug dealer girlfriend, but you was the girlfriend that all the drug dealers wanted to have. And now when we look at the girls that are out now, they're trying to be the ones that the ballers want to have, right? And when we talk about this new single that you got with Pudgy the Fat Bastard, it can be with any of them songs out there right now. Talk to me about the homework you had to do to get a slam in. Because it is ready for the club. Once, COVID, we got our mask on. We're not in the club, But once we get once we get our vaccination and get out there in the club, that's gonna be a jam. That is a jam. Talk to me about this, the single, how you guys came up with it. What was the homework that went into it? Because it sounds so contemporary. It is now. It's not Sweet Teas in the group. It's not On the Smooth. It's not Why Did It Have to Be? It ain't none of them. It's something new and fresh.
Yes. So, Pudgy found the track. He was like, yo, the track is, I love this track. You know what I mean? So he started working on the hook to it. And during COVID, I spent quite a bit of time in Atlantic City. You know what I mean? In a hotel, because it was like you couldn't really travel, but like I had to get out of here, as we call it. So that particular song, I was in Ocean Resort in Atlantic City, and I started writing the song, and I purposely went there to clear my head to write. And Pudgy and I just went back and forth on Google Docs, with the lines and because I was like, this is what I got, and we just put it together. Like, that song that hook he did is crazy. he blew that hook out the water. And then at first, as humble as he is, he was like, so this is reference. So now we can get somebody to do the hook. And I was like, absolutely not. This hook is staying just the way it is, and you staying on this record. I don't want anybody else.
The funny thing about that song, it reminds me of the Dougie Fresh, DJ Cool, dun, 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 them party joints. It sounds like a Fat Man Scoop. I mean, that's the type of party. I'm from Philly, so we like certain jams. That's something that could be thrown in there. Did you and you have a relationship?
And the other piece about that was I wanted to try to reach both sides, because I also have a battle ahead of me, because I have fans that are already, that I love and always support me. And then there's a new crowd that I have yet to touch. And my songs have got to do something in the middle, kind of and that just happens to be one of them. Some of my songs are not, some of them are gonna go edgier and do some other things, but that particular song I felt had a balance. And so that's why we said, no, let's go with that one first. So
don't play with it. Don't play with it. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
I've kept you for a while. When are we going to get the album?
We actually started listing what we're going to do with that. And we're starting to formulate that right now. So we're in the midst of meeting after meeting to decide what we're going to do. And we also said we wanted to give it, a couple of more songs in the studio before the year's out to see if there's any new contenders for what we already have. And it's going to come out, I'm hoping the first quarter. It might not be a whole album, it might be an EP. So we're still trying to decide all of those things, but it's still going to have about 6 to 8 songs on it.
Yeah, so, my friend Larry, he fancies himself just a smart man. And he's like, the move is never to do a full album. It's all EPs now. Yeah. He's like, just put a bunch of hot songs and just let them hit. Bam, bam, bam. But what does he know? He works for UPS. Baby, please, you work for UPS. I mean, he's an executive there, but still.
Hey, but that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to do an EP and then, try to move forward into a full-fledged album. Because, in my mind, I feel like an album should be anticipated. So I need to work on the momentum to get to that anticipated album. So we're going to start with that.
And when are you touring? Are you going on, I'm seeing the whole Rakim and Big Daddy Kane tour, and then we got the alumni and all that. When are you getting locked into a tour where we can, if I miss you in New York, I can catch you in Atlanta? When are you on tour?
So I have not been set up for a tour yet. And I've been okay with that, because I said, you know what, let me get the song out and let me start moving the song. And then, I'll be able to be called upon. I'm still doing shows. I've been to Philly, God knows how many times in the last few months. That is my area.
I'm in Brooklyn now, so you have to tell me when you're in New York. So I went to your last show, the one out in Queens, and you didn't do my song. You did It's My Beat, but you didn't do It's Like That, y'all. That was my song.
Okay.
You didn't do.
Okay. You know what? It's bad. Sometimes promoters ask only for the one song.
I know.
Yeah, that happens.
Joints. You got the joints.
I know.
So it is a pleasure for me to spend this time with you. Thank you so much